Hey guys, today this video is actually for David. This is his Minimoog, another restoration. Basically this one got everything I usually do to a Minimoog. I go through it and then recap and inspect boards, replace commonly failed components. In this case I did a dead zone mod, which is something I do to all the Minimoogs I get now. The thermal compensation, it already had a thermal compensation mod, which was nice. That saved a little bit of time on his oscillator board. It's got a Rev 2 oscillator board, which that makes it really stable. The other thing is that really the primary issue he had with this unit was that his keyboard was the worst. It was really the primary issue. What happened is somebody, and this is a lesson for anybody out there that works on these things, never use petroleum-based grease on these things. Somebody used petroleum-based grease. You should always use like a silicone-based, because with petroleum, plastics don't react to it real well. Sometimes it can cause plastics to melt. It can cause them to deform. In this case, it actually caused them to swell. And what it was is you got a little, you've probably heard me refer to these before, but you got a little plastic lobe that sits on top of the hammer, and I refer to them as key cones, is what I call them. But basically, they just sit on top of the hammer under the key, and it's like a calm action. So when you hit a note, it's actually pushing your hammer forward. And actually, if you're ever interested, I got a video on Pratt Reed teardown, so I can show you. You can watch that video and understand a little bit more about this technical stuff if you're interested. But basically what happened in this case is those little lobes, or those cones, they swelled. They become swollen, and they actually lodged inside the key. So you'd hit a note and it would actually pull the cone off the hammer, and then you would lose your action. You'd hit a key and it wouldn't trigger notes because your hammer's not getting the action. And so that was the issue. So what I did, I stripped this keyboard down, I took those parts out, and I cleaned everything. I mean, I had to get all that petroleum-based grease out so it didn't react. I took all those back out, I soaked them in a thing of alcohol overnight, and got rid of all that grease, and then I actually had to trim them down to make them fit right. But the results are great. I mean, it turned out really good. The feel's great, and as you can hear, I'll just turn off the sound here. You hear how nice and quiet his keyboard is, and the action's really nice. As you can hear, you don't hear any clanking or any noises. So fix that. And then the rest was just the normal stuff. It was just what I do with Minimoogs. But anyways, as you can hear, David, this is your Minimoog with all three oscillators. It's working great, triggering's right. It's got a good feel to it, and as you can hear, I go through each oscillator just so you can hear. I cleaned up all the switches. You had a dirty emphasis part. I actually removed it, took it apart, and cleaned it, and then put it back together. It had a lot of residue in it, so I just flushed it real good and put some good lubricant in it. But we'll go over here to oscillators first. I'll go through all the wave shapes and everything here. Let me get this word sustain for me, because I'm doing everything one-handed here. Let's see. So you can hear there's no glitches in frequency when I turn things. There's no noise in your switches now for wave shape, which is something else you had going on. You had a lot of noise. Oscillator 2. Oscillator 2. As you can hear, works great. Oscillator 3. As you can hear, they're all working great. Your mixer knobs work. Good clean knobs. As you can hear. good clean frequency knobs as well. Something I'll show you too is your dead zone mod, which I used your original wheels. These are actually what you find on 74 Minimoogs. 72, 73 had clear ones. 74 had these. I think 75 they actually went with the ribbed style pitch and mod wheels. So I kept your early ones. They're a little warped. As you can see, there's a slight curve to them, but it's not very bad, and I was able to work around it. So I wasn't real worried about that. But it kept it original. It keeps it looking original. Now your wooden case, guys, for anybody watching this is not the original wood case, by the way. This is a remake, but somebody did a really good job on it. I'm very impressed with this cabinet. It's probably the most impressive homemade cabinet I've seen. So hats off to the guy. If you built this one, hats off to you, because it's great. Easy to work on, easy to take apart, and really nice. I mean, you can see how they countersink the screws and put caps over it even, so it's really nice. But yeah, anyways, back to the dead zone mod here. I'll show you this is working. As you'll hear it, if I wiggle this wheel within the detent, you won't hear any change in pitch. You won't hear any little drifts or anything until I move outside the range. So as you can hear, and so what that's actually doing, that's giving you a true center position. And so it makes things a lot more accurate, especially if you use your pitch bend light for bends and stuff. It really helps with Minimoog, because a lot of times you'd pitch bend up or down and you go back in the middle and it was maybe just slightly out of tune, so you'd have to reach up here and either do that or find your position in your pitch wheel. So that's cleared up now. I'll show you that your filter emphasis knob is working good. Good and clean. As you can hear, frequencies between oscillators are very good. Now this does have a Revision 2 board in it, oscillator board, so it is going to have some natural drift. There's just some things you can't fix because of the design. Even though the thermal compensation was done to this board, it doesn't necessarily fix every little drift. It's just the nature of the beast. But anyways, your noise source is working. I'll show you this is working. As you can hear. Good clean volume. Get you a good thumpy bass here. Generator is working. Go here. That's just your loudness control. Oh, that's working right. It's beautiful. In fact, that's one of the big issues I have working on these things. I love playing them more than I do working on them. I end up playing them a lot. But anyways, as you can see, this thing's looking good, David, and everything's sounding good. It's good and crisp. Your glide circuit works too. I should show that right quick. while that's working, I cleaned all the switches too, so these switches here were a little stiff. They're now good and smooth. Don't have to worry about breaking them. But I'll just kind of give you a walk around here. I've still got a little detailing to do, just some basic stuff here. But I cleaned the back of it real good. As you can see, all this looks really nice and shiny now. And it's really clean. I cleaned everything up. And I got rid of that sticker. You really had a Moog sticker on the back right here, which you can still see a little bit of the residue, but nothing like it was. But I did leave your Secret Services sticker there. That's a pretty cool sticker, so I figured I'd just leave that on there. But Secret Service was a instrument repair center in Cincinnati, Ohio, and they used the name Secret Service, which is really cool. I thought that was really cool stuff. But once again, you can just see how beautiful this chassis is too under there. How nice and clean it looks. Really nice. I took out everything apart and cleaned the chassis as well, so no dust or anything. But I'll just give you an overview here of the back. And then of course your Moog badge back here. I installed that, and it looks really good and solid. And it really cleaned up nice, as you can see. I mean, it's a great instrument. I think you're going to be really happy with it, David. I just kind of want to give you a walk around here. I know I've talked a lot about it, sent you pictures, went through emails and all this kind of stuff, but it's always good to see an instrument after it's done. And also, here's a bag of your old parts. You had a few key bushings that were screwed up. Somebody replaced the key bushings, as I had mentioned too, but evidently they didn't understand the adjustment procedure. Because what they did, it looks like they cut the key bushings to make the keys lower or higher instead of actually setting the rail. Which, for anybody that's interested, you can do it with pliers, but this tool right here really makes key alignment a lot easier on these Pratt Reed keyboards. That's actually the factory tool. That was given to me by a friend who worked at Moog Music, so really honored and proud to have this tool. And it does get used. But anyways, David, a good overview for you here. And if you have any more questions, please let me know, and I'll address them in a video or however whatever the best method is here. But anyways, take care, guys, and thanks again, David, for letting me work on your Minimoog. All the best.